Let me talk about a few of the issues that I've raised. And I'm kind of basically a policy wonk. I'm into this because I believe in policy. I believe in trying to make the lives of my community, of people in my community, better. That's why I'm here. I got other things I could do in life, but I love trying to make life better for people. Constituent service is one of the things I enjoy the most. You don't hear anything about it. There's so many people we've helped over the years in my office, and I'm very proud of what we've done. But what are we talking about? Let's talk about Amtrak. It's coming. 4 years ago, the mayor and I, we inaugurated the new bus. Let me tell you briefly how this happens, because some people said, well, I didn't have much to do with it. Well, let me tell you, this is what I did. In fact, I had a town meeting in '09 about the future of a passenger rail in Western Virginia, right after Governor Kane started the new Lynchburg train. And so the CEO of the Department of Rail and Public Transportation, Kevin Page, came to Ronald the Link Museum. And the question was, what can we do to bring passenger rail to Western Virginia? He said, start with a bus. My first reaction, oh, I want a train. No, he said, seriously, a bus. I thought, okay, let's think about that. So I got involved that winter, got involved with the Department of Rail and Public Transportation, got in the weeds. I'm a lawyer, I know how to do these things. I got in the weeds of it. I found out that there was a program. The Amtrak would pay a third, the state would pay a third, the locality would pay a third. So I talked to the city council, and they said, we don't have any money. I said, fine, I'll get the money. I did. I'm the only one that did this, by the way. There wasn't any help from anybody. I got the money, and it came through in 2011 to get started on an Amtrak, on a connector bus, the Valley Metro, the Smartway bus. They were very cooperative, and we got it going. And we had no idea how many people were going to take that train, that bus. We thought, well, 10, 12, we don't know. So we had a van, and then we had a bus, just in case. Well, guess what? The bus was packed, absolutely packed. And now 55 passengers a day, and Amtrak very quickly said, you have proven your point, and we're coming. And then when they opened up the new train starting from Norfolk to Richmond in 2012, they had on the DRPT's website, we got the new train, second stop Roanoke. And for the last few years, we've been working to get it. We got some additional money, so it's coming. It's coming in 2017, hopefully by 2016. I've been working with the director of the Department of DRPT on a regular basis. It's definitely coming, and it's coming to the New River Valley in 2020. It's not sooner. And if you want to go online to find out where you would like to have the depot, you can do it now. Go online. Cambria, somewhere in Christiansburg, Radford. Anyway, it's up in the air. They're whittling it down to a few places. So please get involved, and it's definitely coming. Tim Sands, the president of Virginia Tech, said more than half the students at Tech come from the Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area and further north. Wouldn't they like to take a train to school in Radford University? I guarantee you they would. So it's coming, and tell everybody I'm the one that's been leading the charge to bring Amtrak here. Let's talk about higher education. When I first went to the Senate, 20 years ago, one of the things I promised, I was going to build the Roanoke Higher Education Center, along with improving the quality higher education and affordability in higher education. I talk about it all the time, because tuition had gone up so much in the 90s. My second year in the Senate, 1997, I authored a resolution that passed that set as a policy of the Commonwealth that the Commonwealth would fund 70% of the cost of higher education, and the students 30%. And in fact, we followed that for a couple of years. $80 million was put in the budget the next year to reduce tuition, solely to reduce tuition. And we got back to the 70-30 split. Guess what happened? In the early 2000s, two things happened. The funding for the Commonwealth went down, and the Republicans took over the House and the Senate. And guess what? As Tim Sands also said, higher education became dispensable. I've debated Republicans on this very issue. What is most important? In my opinion, higher education and public education is the most important thing we're doing as a Commonwealth. The most important. If you talk to Republicans, the Tea Party types, people who sign, and if my opponent has the no tax pledge, no, they don't think taxpayers, they will say this, at least privately, taxpayers should fund higher education. They think the cost should be shifted to parents and the students. And in fact, that's what's happened. Every time we have a recession, the first thing that gets cut and the last thing that's funded is higher education. And the universities know that. And I've been fighting this battle for almost 20 years now. And I've done several things. The Community College Transfer Access Grant Program, which allows a grant, a scholarship to go to community college first, and when you transfer. The Roanoke Education Center certainly is a basic education and very affordable. More people have told me, at least in the Roanoke area, they couldn't have gotten their MBA, 3 MBAs. They couldn't have gotten one had it not been in downtown Roanoke, because they're working, and they can take the programs at night and on weekends. So it's been a huge, huge success. I'm very proud of that. But affordability in higher education is a huge, huge issue. My opponent says, well, we'd had no choice. Wait a minute, I know you had a choice. And I can get into the details of that. So I'm the one pushing to make higher education more affordable, more accessible to more people, because I think higher education is absolutely critical. If you have to fund something, fund public education and higher education. These are the most important things. Let's talk about public education. I've been at the forefront of expanding pre-K. I noticed one of those flyers said, Edward's done nothing about pre-K. Look, I put in the first universal pre-K bill 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And Senator Kane, Governor Kane, when he was running for governor in 2005, picked up what I was doing. I talked to his staff, and he made that a big issue in the campaign, if you remember, in 2005. We are expanding pre-K, but not anywhere near enough. Let me tell you why pre-K is so important. The head of the holding company that owns the largest employer in Virginia, Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Docks, he said the other day, pre-K is a national security issue. He said pre-K is the most important thing we can do to improve the economy in the future. And the Federal Reserve System in Minnesota said the same thing. I mean, these guys are wonky types in the Federal Reserve System. But they realize, they connect the dots. Pre-K leads to better people. They learn more, they do better, they're not as involved in the criminal justice system. All the studies show how important pre-K is. So I've been pushing that, so that's extremely important. But just the other day, we learned, my opponent has really said very well. She tried to go through the campaign by being glossy and saying nothing, except negatives. The other day, we had a debate, NAACP debate in Roanoke. Finally, she came out with what I knew she believed in. She supported Senator Obenchain's constitutional amendment for charter schools. Are you familiar with that? It passed the Senate last year, and it'll pass again if we don't take back the Senate. What this does, it overrules the local school boards. In the Constitution, the local school boards supervise local schools. That's a constitutional requirement. What this would do is let the Board of Education in Richmond, a handful of people, dictate charter schools at the local level and take your money to do it. And what it would do is, that would mean fewer teachers. It would mean the school board would have to say, here's your money, you get free rent, and now you run the school. And furthermore, charter schools pick and choose who they want to be in the charter school. This would totally gut our public school system in Virginia. But my opponent's for it, as the right wing is, as the Tea Party is, as the no-tax people are, and those that want private schools instead of public schools are. So this is a huge issue. People need to understand that. I got a little TV ad. I don't know if you noticed it or not. I'm going to run it pretty hard because we just learned what her position was. We couldn't do it earlier. I couldn't do it until I had her firmly in print saying this. So that is a huge, huge, huge issue in this campaign. If you care about the public schools, make sure you vote for me and not my opponent, because let me tell you, if she's in charge, she's going to do exactly what the Tea Party tells her to do. What else are we talking about? There's so many other issues out there. You know, let's talk about
Medicaid expansion.
Medicaid, yeah. I was wondering when transportation, public education, higher education, healthcare. We have a tremendous resource here in our Valley, Carilion, Lewis Gale, great medical nurse practitioners and others here in this region. We're very fortunate. But our hospitals, Carilion and Lewis Gale, are losing $50 million a year in our region alone. Why? Because the money's in Washington. Our money. We sent it there. We're entitled to bring it back. And they don't want to do it. Now, when you talk about the Affordable Care Act, people say, oh, I love the Affordable Care Act. Obamacare? No, Obamacare. It's like, what's going on here? We know what's going on here. The Tea Party is dominating the Republican Party. We had a compromise a year ago in the Senate. And then we lost because of what happened. And now if they take over the Senate, and this winter we couldn't do anything, they're 21-19. If we don't take over the Senate, we're not going to get Medicaid expansion. It's not going to happen. And it makes no sense financially And everybody who looks at it says, this is stupid. I mean, we could create 30,000 new jobs. The governor says $352 million in the budget now that goes to indigent care. We wouldn't have to do that. Medicaid exchange would cover it. You could use it for public education and higher education and other things, public safety and so forth. But that's how stupid they are. But it's not just a financial issue of taking what would $2 billion do to our economy? It rippled through the economy and helped the entire economy. But think of it from an individual standpoint. You're living under the federal poverty level. And you cannot afford to purchase private health insurance because it's expensive. From the federal poverty level above, 4 times that, under the Affordable Care Act, you're entitled to a subsidy to buy private health insurance. That's how it was designed. But if you live under the federal poverty level, the assumption was you get Medicaid expansion, you don't get the subsidy. So you don't get the subsidy. You can't afford private health insurance, which can be expensive. You're just out of luck. You're plain out of luck. If you have a chronic problem, who's going to treat you? If you have diabetes, if you have high blood pressure, people need to see a doctor, a family physician on a regular basis, especially those of us of a certain age, right? And but it's true across the board, not just older people, but across the board. So we're treating those under the federal poverty level as second-class citizens. Think of it. It's true. And they don't care. I've heard Republicans say, well, time to get a job and get their own damn insurance. That's a quote from one Republican delegate. You know something? They're working. They're just not making the federal poverty level. That raises another issue. Minimum wage. Minimum wage has not been raised since 2007. And it's not going to happen as long as Republicans control the Senate, certainly the Senate. And the reason why that's important, the minimum wage is actually lower today, adjusted for inflation, than it was in 1970. Think about it. If you adjusted it today, for 1970, we've got $22,000 a year working full time. Today, minimum wage is about $15,000 a year working full time. But you know the federal poverty level for family of 4 is $25,000 a year. You make the minimum wage, you're not even making the federal poverty level. And so that's something we really have to do. What else do we need to talk about? We talk about transportation, public education, higher education, what? Health. That's exactly right. You read my mind. Let's talk about solar. You know, I've been the leader in solar. I got an award from the Sierra Club Center. I'm the solar senator, they say. That's fine. I'll take that. There's so much we need to do to make people. There's so many people in this country that don't even believe in climate change, including the Tea Party types. Solar. We need to, you know, solar energy is growing 20% job growth a year, the fastest growing part of the energy sector, and the price is plummeting. Even Charles Patton, I keep quoting him, 2019, the cost of solar will be cheaper than natural gas or coal. It's hard to believe. But so we need to be doing, Virginia is like ranked 30th in the nation in terms of solar. North Carolina to the south, fourth. They have so much more solar than we do. We don't even have a program for solar. I passed the first power purchase agreement. Beth Loman was very helpful, by the way, and working with me on this. And the first and only, so far, power purchase agreement, which is a pilot program with Dominion. That is something we need to do. I think people up here understand that. So that's something where we're going to go. We're going to do, when I get to be, again, when we win the Senate and we take over the Senate, we're going to move forward on solar. I can guarantee you that, and other renewables. So that's really, really important. Finally, there you go. That's enough. That's enough. One final thing.